Bonquick Graciel, what's up, man? From Madridismo Daily. There's Judum, the piece that's still missing to fit in, even though we'd already put it in place the day before the derby. Remember? And that turned out how it turned out. How you doing?
How's it going? All good, yeah. Probably a lot of people picture an ideal Madrid we could have like that, from a bird's eye view, so to speak. Should it be with Belling in the starting 11? The truth is, as of today, for different reasons, within Real Madrid's setup, Bellingham hasn't really found his place because he's played so little, and because he hasn't really made a huge impact. So I think that in everything that still needs to be figured out, Alonso surely knows there's a lot more, but the most obvious ones at first glance have to do with fitting Bellingham in. If we're looking for Bellingham, more like an 8, more like a 10, who would it be at first glance, the one to go? A lot of questions to answer.
Because I was saying after the game against Villarreal, so what did that lead to? 2 chances, had 2 really clear ones, plus Tanchuano. He dares to go for it. He keeps messing up his decisions. At the end of the day, he's still just 18. The thing is, we're always in more of a rush with soccer players. Honestly, if he scored those 2, or even just 1, we'd probably be saying, look at the kid, you know? Because earlier today, he debuted with Madrid and scored a goal. In these games he's played, it seems Xavi sees him as a sure starter. Until I insist when Belling shows up, which I think is the natural swap, right? That's why I'm saying he's kind of the one most likely to drop out of the lineup for the Englishman. But are we going to see? It's about as similar as an egg and a chestnut, the Argentine and the English. So something would naturally change. Not sure about the drawing, too.
I just don't agree it has to be that much, you know? Well, I'm gonna explain why. I also think it shouldn't be that much more. For me, the fit in terms of width, in the range of play and features of what he should need Real Madrid in a starting 11 aiming. I mean, for a Champions League semifinal, a snapshot of a big game for me. Maybe Alonso's big goal for the rest of the season. In terms of fitting pieces together, is to make Belling fit into the starting 11. With Arthur Bueller, without having Moss be the one sacrificed. So I'm going to explain why. Because on the right side, you need the width, the pressure, and that extra energy, just like you do on the left. With different qualities, way more speed, way more presence. Vinicius gives you that lightning burst of plays. You need someone on the right. Does that feel threatening to you? What else could you do in those? Push Valverde up to right midfield, put him in that quadrant, because it seems we're starting to accept that Valverde doesn't have to be so permanently positioned in the middle of the field. It doesn't really make sense to me that for the team's sake, Valverde should play on the right side with Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, Valverde a little further up, and then Tchouaméni, Bellingham, and Arda Güler as number 10. And yeah, I'm talking about many Bellingham because to me, and today, check it out, Ivan Martin, our contributor, put together an article. He even made a video. In fact, on that topic, he made the one we posted on the channel, a video about it. On the topic or the Bellingham plan. And Ivan says, Xavi's idea would be to put him in the cross zone, number 8 spot. So overused, talked about, and analyzed on this channel. I just think the most natural way for everything to fit without causing an Oppenheimer-level mess for the rest of the team is that it's got to do with Bellingham. Don't knock Arda down. And let Bellingham get back to being who he was at Borussia Dortmund. We've talked about this plenty of times. The Bellingham at Real Madrid is a Bellingham who's changed huge things, but he's had to make a shift in his own game. Having to play as a number 10 with the national team, we've also seen how a real 10 can play as a 10. But I'm going to ask the same question as with Valverde. Right now, we all think Valverde can play midfield. But where you really need him, given his traits, is on the right. Am I asking right now, where do we need more Belling? Maybe he's not a true number 10. Because in the number 10 slot, you found a player who makes everything flow, makes everything click, and is the perfect partner for Mbappé. Why is that? I'll add this. Aren't we maybe getting a bit blinded by the idea that Ceballos could really be that guy in key moments of the season? I'm saying this because last year Ceballos already stepped up and had a solid season. I just feel like his ceiling is obvious. Is Ceballos a useful player? Yeah, Ceballos is a really solid rotation player, of course, but I think when it comes to organizing, if Real Madrid wants to grow, they need to make sure Bellingham fits in Arda. I'm not moving him right now. He stays. Tactically, he's worse than Belling on defense. Bellingham is a player who's already spent time in that spot at Borussia Dortmund, playing 3 years, 2.5.
He said 2 years and 3.
Well, he's already played seasons in that double midfield spot. So for me, the fit is Bellingham as a number 8 alongside Ameni and Arda up front. Plus Antonio on the right, Vini on the left up top with Valverde. You could link up there from the wing, or Trent Alexander-Arnold with the option to make that play. Putting Arnold in and Valverde on the right side. Would that be another option?
Taking off that much, right? Then there you take it off if you want. Okay. I tried.
A little bit. Okay. My idea for everyone. I think it's pretty much clear now.
All right. I think. If not, I've already got you. Look, we can try doing a build my lineup real quick and make it more visual for people, right? But yeah, of course, man. You said something that honestly I hadn't stopped to think about, and you're totally right. Google's worse on defense than Belling.
Right, and actually...
Right, so, I mean, when it comes to pressing the opponent, right, I mean, with the body too, and with... But at the same time, Guller has already teamed up with Mbappe. So the spot you've got left for Belling is at one. I mean, like moving it a bit to the base of the play rather than the trick, right?
It's a video you've got. Besides, I just can't send it to you right now while we're recording. But I'll try to send you a picture here. So we're super talented, huh? What's going to happen to you? If not now, then later, so you can put up a picture of Bellingham and his heat map in the dorm. See? He covers a ton of ground because he plays way further back.
Yeah.
He played a lot, for example, as a double pivot within Reckon. He's more the kind of player, so we're on the same page. And he played in 14,231 at Borussia Dortmund. We've forgotten about the 20-year-old Bellingham. I mean, now we've got the 23-year-old Bellingham, and we've forgotten about the 20-year-old one. We haven't lost our memory, but I hope Xabi Alonso gets back Voling soccer smarts, because we need him. We need him in that area of the field too.
Look, I've got, let's see, right? Courtois, come on, Courtois. All right, because here, I've got 11442 by default, but damn, it works for me.
It could work for what we're about to tackle.
We'll just move it around a bit. Okay. All right, Courtois. So here you'd put Valverde from what we've got now, right?
If we don't have Arnold Valverde will do.
Perfect. Let's go. On the left, races I don't get.
Correct.
Oak. On the left side of the race. All right. Let's head over here because we can start getting ahead of Valverde a bit. So we're going here, obviously thought through, right?
Yes, sir.
Edited. Hey, it's true. It's pronounced Militown. No, ask Anapala. It's pronounced Militown. No, in the end with a Militown. Yeah, that one. Hausen. All right, and we'd have it. 2 housings showed up there. Well, and we'd have this. So we move forward.
All right.
And we want a back four, right? I mean, here.
We stick with a back four. Now you grab Sam and I. Are we doing like a pivot test?
That's it. Okay.
And then here's Belling.
Belinda. Plus, Bellingham usually played more on the left side of the field, though sometimes he'd drift right because he loves making runs into space.
Well, we're not exactly revealing anything new about Belling, even if they're 2 staggered midfielders, or straight up, I mean, whoever's holding down that pivot spot.
The pivots here, this has come up, but you can play them together. I mean, even if one's offensive, you can still put Bellingham right in front of Hausen. No problem at all. Okay, all right. And Choa was coming there, right? That's it then.
Franco's pretty much here. For now, when the train comes back, maybe Valverde takes that spot or K, because it's clear that with what we've got right now, Valverde's the guy. The other day it was crystal clear, and now it's obvious, and Xavi put him there because he played really well.
By the way, huh?
Does he play really well, pretty well, or not?
Yeah, he plays really well. Yeah, that's why.
Like I was saying before, I don't know, he messes up sometimes with decisions and stuff. Sometimes he tries to go where he can't or something like that. But it's true, he creates up front, he's creating up top and really battling, huh?
And for Xavi, he also does really important work off the ball. I get that people already want 6 goals from Messi Antonio. I want them too, but it shows up as Vinny Jr., not Vinicius.
Yeah, true. Dude, the other day it happened to me and I said, damn, what's going on in the state of Vinicius?
Yeah, it was Vinny Jr. Down, 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 Vinny Jr. right here.
Damn, here they are, the last ones, I can't believe it. All right, come on then.
We'll grab Arda there. That's pretty decent. He's taking his time, but we're giving him a perfect 10 because he's a 10. Mbappe proves it more every day. The versatile free man, the roaming striker back then. I mean, right there, you've got a team that's loaded in every way. They've got presence, they've got width, they've got plays inside. And then it's true that when Arnold comes back, by the way, they say he might be ready for Juve or the Clasico. There with Valverde, in one of those, you could slot him in where Sanchuono and Arnold play on the wing. And he's also going to cut inside a lot to back up Aurelian. And Belling or if Ceballos were around, the other option, or even Bang, because they're options. But on the right side, I think it's got to go that way.
You know, Queek, it kind of bothers me seeing you take him out against Atletico de Madrid, and then you realize later you actually need him. He was coming off a great game against Levante in what was Madrid's best match so far this season. They mess up at the Metropolitano, play against Almaty, and do pretty well against Villarreal. It's not like it's a big deal, but it looks like the team's getting a bit of control back in the middle. Yeah, not right next to him. Actually, you know, Chauvini's always needs a guy next to him who's got a lot of guts and all that. You've told me a bit about Ceballos before, but do you think he'll give you that same work? He's a very, very, very hard worker. Absolutely. Bellingham, no, but the way I see him, even though you say that at Dortmund he played further back, but the way I see him with that, with so much offensive ability that Xabi Alonso himself said in a press conference that he sees him as a midfielder, but one who gets forward a lot. Kind of like a number 10 and all that. Putting him in that spot doesn't scare you.
For me, none at all. None, because those of us who followed Belling since he was really, really, really young know that's the spot where he, let's say, showed what he could do. In fact, Madrid signed him while he was playing in a double pivot. Another thing is, if you keep pushing Bellingham as a 10, so then you're either cutting out more players or you don't put Arda on the opposite wing where he loses everything he's been working on, his rhythm and all that.
I don't want to see him there.
Sure, but then it means you. Keep this in mind. If Belling is at 10, Arda plays on his opposite foot on the right, and then you put Ceballos with Comanet, Arda Güler. 4, me. The less he sticks to the wing, the better. If he's got someone already covering the wing for him, it's not necessarily better. That's why he plays more. It's important to stop. I mean, in the end, this is like Valverde's thing from my point of view in the end. It's about the common good. I mean, I get it. For example, that he might talk about thinking, I don't know. If you think about it, maybe playing as a fullback isn't really your career position. Thinking 3 years ahead. But if in the current Madrid, what helps the current Madrid, I repeat, with the players we have, if it means you move to right back, then you move to right back. Because this is a team sport and you've got to look for the team's benefit. Where all the pieces, let's say in the sum of all the pieces, fit together better. So I think Bellingham, where Real Madrid needs him, is in that spot. And besides, were you throwing me a bit of a curve? Sure. Also about whether Bellingham could play Ceballos' role. He doesn't need to play Ceballos' role. It's just that Bellingham moves forward and breaks lines differently. I mean, Ceballos is more of a positional player, slower, less of a ball carrier. It's just that Bellingham breaks a line off a 1-2 first.
Yeah, that's true.
Does it in one, but look.
I'm worried about Madrid trying to play out from the back against a team like Barca that's going to press hard to find the open man. Ceballos, we already know what his ceiling is.
Sure.
But visually, I mean, if we can picture it now, we close our eyes and picture that game. Visually, I picture more of it, like I picture a Madrid with more options to break out. In those kinds of situations, they're locked in with a Ceballos who's constantly on the move, always looking for that spot to help his teammate get the play going and all. With Bellingham, and being a much better player, especially when it comes to scoring. But in those tricky build-up situations, it makes me nervous. And even though
I'll show you clips of Bellingham in his own half bringing the ball out at Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah. Come on, go check out the highlights from when we signed him, because I didn't watch all the Dortmund games except for one he played against Sevilla. Really good. He scored an amazing goal. And it's true, he was playing further back. Yeah, and he never lost it when he got to the edge of the box.
All that ability, there's so much field.
He covers so much ground, and Bellingham's numbers at Borussia Dortmund are impressive for being at Borussia Dortmund. And at that moment, his growth was good in terms of goals and assists. I honestly think we need to get back that version of Bellingham, more like an 8, the kind that drops a bit deeper to help the team move forward. He can move the play forward with passes. He can do it with switching the field. He can drive the ball up. He's got plenty of ways to push forward. In fact, he's got way more ways to move the ball forward than Ceballos. Ceballos is a less progressive player than Bellingham. Totally, Bellingham has more ways to move the game forward. Now, I get why people might be skeptical, but let it be for a real reason. Thing is, Bellingham just hasn't been sharp till now. That was the question, but when it comes to the tactical ability to play there, I have zero doubts.
Hey, we'll keep talking about everything that's coming, because look, we couldn't get 3 more different teams before the FIFA break. Then Juve and then Barca. Okay, I wanted to get to Barca. We're going to talk a lot. Barca losing to Sevilla, for me, totally against all odds. I mean, maybe they can give them a tough game or something, but from there to scoring 4, if Barca scores, they get 2 more from penalties. I think they'll come back. But yeah, that's why I said, well, one Sunday I'll try to enjoy with the family.
Anyway, I've already seen this game.
I mean, they're going to win it, and then they go and lose it. I got to get back home to make a video. No, those are the ones that do best later.
But yeah, man.
So, of course, you see Sevilla did that too. The striker who's offside. There are plenty of teams that have scored a crazy amount of goals like that against Barca. That way, I'm not sure if the striker was that far offside or not. But yeah, we've seen them. We've seen goals like this in the future. This is the one from the other day, Gonzalo Ramos goal. I can't play it like that. Don't want to risk it too much. The Newcastle one. Anyway, I don't know if Inter scored on them once. This lady, a bunch of them, and especially one, a team that did really well, was Rayo Vallecano. That's right. Let's see. You see Madrid doing the same thing. See, it's just, but Mbappe makes a lot of runs, and they're always looking for him. And so that connection too, Mbappe against Atletico de Madrid in Madrid's first goal worked out because, well, he started from the right spot if he'd been further up. The situation's tougher. They'd have pulled from the earlier goal or the later one, depending, but do you see him pulling that off against Barca, like with Vinicius, or even more, right? Or even Valverde himself, if he ends up playing right back, or Carreras himself, those who start from a position where they're not offside. Assuming Mbappe has to play that role like as he did against Rayo.
I think it's got to be a strategy you can lock in at certain moments that you can, pull off. Execute. You can pull it off on the field, but I really think that's what hurts Barca the most. Aside from these specific plays, there's obviously a clear advantage. When you're opening up to the wing and looking for the attacker on the second play, with the ball ahead, it's also key to avoid offsides. All right, this has to be important too. I think right now the most important thing for Barca is the guys coming in from the second line. The second line isn't clicking for them. In fact, we saw a situation with Sevilla, also with the second line coming in really well. I think Barcelona is having trouble with these plays, hurting them a lot more, beyond just the striker. Something like that, it's a really solid play that Madrid can pull off perfectly. I think Barcelona is having a big problem when it comes to pressing the ball receiver. No, not the one about to get it, but the one making the pass. The one about to make that breakthrough pass doesn't have the same aggressiveness, the same focus. And of course, when you play with a high press, with a back four, whether it's Araujo, Kibarze, or Barkan, Eric Garcia, the thing is you leave a lot of space between Chesney or Joan Garcia. Or Garcia, like they used to say back then, like they say now. Garcia. So with all that risk, how ironically enough does Barcelona take chances in those plays when John's Pedri, Almo, or the forwards don't press well and things are pretty clear there? They're screwed. Sorry, really messed up.
You can't say the first thing. I saw it. I saw it. In the goals they scored against Barca, and sorry, and in another play with Pedri too, because I didn't watch the match. I've seen later, just bits and pieces, right? Pedri not really pressing the passer effectively or working like he usually does. Exactly. So from here on, it branches out a lot. That thing about the second year of a team that's been successful, last season, they did win the Champions League, though. In the Barca fan subconscious, it kind of feels like they did. They won it, but no, they didn't win it. Why? Maybe it's kind of being full of that, right? And this thing that happened to Madrid happens to a lot of teams, right? So now they don't work as hard because last year Barca was like a machine at doing things, right? I mean, taking the shot, catching the other team offside, going straight to the passer so they had no chance. Because playing with those risks obviously means that, right? You really got to stay sharp with that thing you said about going to the passer. And there are key guys who aren't doing it either. Well, last year he didn't play much, honestly. But maybe in the middle of the field, you need that, and they've got good players. Naturally, with great skill. And for people who can really run, and they're not getting that. But I also think, of course, you start pointing out flaws in Atletico de Madrid. And they find 1,000 before playing Madrid. But 1,000. And they face Madrid. Hey, perfect game. I have no doubt these guys are coming back to the Bernabeu to play their perfect game.
Because they know how to hurt Madrid. In the end, this is a strategy for how to hurt your opponent. What people will get is that even though Barca is more sensitive right now, you can still hurt them more. Some will say Hansi Flicker's 2.0 at Bayern Munich was the same. No slump. Yeah, it's true. And he wasn't talking about Goretzka's hair, but about how bad the team's drop in form was. There was a big slump overall. Well, this could happen here too, like you said. Well, they won the game's Champions League, which for a lot of Ocul, Narnian, as White Viking would say, well, that's already pretty legit, right? So they're kind of, I don't know, not sure if it's just them being full. I want to see it. What's clear is it's a team. It's alive. Does it suffer a lot from its tactical strategy? It's a very tactical team, very much a coach's creation. Teams, you could say, live more off talent, spark, and magic. It's something. I'd say the Madrid under prime Ancelotti didn't rely that much on tactics. It relied more on the automated side of ball play, about defending well in the defensive area blocks and attacking really well with their talent. So that's more, right? It doesn't take as much work. The day-to-day grind, the mental strain that can come from feeling too comfortable, but it's different. The idea is different. Barcelona lives or dies a lot, I repeat, on its pressing blocks, swallowing up that second play, winning it back, feeling like they're in control, but it also hurts them and the opponent can't link up. The moment the opponent can pass in triangles, like Sevilla went, with players, well, Mendy's nothing spectacular either. Vargas, Isaac Romero, Alexis Sanchez with like 50 and 1,000 years. I mean, a team that doesn't have amazing talent. But Martin Almeida knew exactly how to attack the open spaces, how to push in with the second line, how to set all that up, and how to steal. So is it a vulnerable team? But it already was last year. Thing is, last year, they were less vulnerable than this year. And this year, the cracks are showing more, but every team is vulnerable.
That said, they were missing Rafinha and Yamal, which is half the offense. Obviously, that's 222 daggers. And two really dangerous players, they're still going to have those weaknesses at the Bernabeu. The key here is to exploit them, and Madrid sure does. It could really hurt Barca.
You mean the one where they beat us? Sorry for nothing at the Bernabeu. Let's see the first Clasico, okay? We had a lot of chances. But in the one that was the first, Real Madrid has a really strong first 30 minutes.
That good at creating.
Out of 2 or 3 scoring chances, one they call off for Mbappe, who chips it over Ivan.
Pena, I think he was the goalie. Yeah, it's a game.
I mean, yours. But yeah, there you go. I mean, you've got to finish there against Barcelona. You'll get chances. You'll get your chances. But you've got to finish them because they've also had a really high scoring rate last year. It's a team with a lot of scoring power. But yeah, the expected goals, Don Amancio said that. So I'll leave it there. For the record, there have been 5 opponents this year who beat them in expected goals. That is basically the rivals' expected goals. And that's exactly what we're talking about. You can tell there's more vulnerability because that stat says Barca is easier to score against.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you don't take advantage like Madrid did last year in the first half of the Clásico, they'll kill you later. And you'll see they mess with your head. I mean, just remember later, because, when Madrid finds itself in a situation like that, like the other day against Atleti, seeing the players' faces, man, I hope I never fall into that again because it's something pretty intense. I mean, it kind of takes over your life.
Then last year, they came back on us. 3 games or 2, they came back on us twice.
The Cup one and the Clásico.
Yeah.
Thing is, they're a really reactive team.
It's also, I had a lot of comebacks last year.
And if Madrid goes down by 2, it's ghosts from last year. I mean, what I'm saying is with the kind of offensive firepower these guys have, if you don't take your chances and they do and they go 2 up, watch out. Hey, careful because, then I think Madrid needs to start building confidence. It's also a matter of building. I mean, there's no way the team's playing perfectly right now because it's definitely not perfect. We're winning games and doing great, more consistent in the league. That's why they're on top. That's why they're the leader. My only doubt is making it to that October 26th Classic with the machine ready. Well-oiled, right? Super well-oiled. That'll come later, but at least well-oiled for the refs to give them a hard time.
For me, Miguel, 2.5. And not because of the series, but there are 2. Very clear litmus tests and a half. I mean, because of the youth one. But for me, El Clasico and Anfield are going to be huge tests.
Wow.
Our competitive level there is why that's just how we are. And you feel it on the channel. This is all or nothing, like in bullfighting, because that's just how we are and it's normal. Because on top of that, Madrid fans who've got sharp eyes, football memory, and every kind of memory. Remember, we didn't beat anyone last year. Sorry, against a city that wasn't exactly in its prime, but that's it. Arsenal, Liverpool, Milan, Barcelona, Atletico. All in all, we had a lot of problems. Sure, the Atleti and the champions and all, but we really struggled to compete against the teams that push you the hardest.
Yeah, look, no, we haven't talked about Vinny because we've already talked a lot on our channels about how the other day Vinny was the best and got his essence back. But right there, that's why, because we want to see him like that, Madrid has to work with Vinny playing that way. And yeah, everything there was to say about Vinny, we've already said on the channels, and he himself said it out on the field the other day. But I wanted to know your take on how Bellingham fits in. How does that team look? I think we've nailed that lineup. A pretty interesting lineup. And then, looking ahead with the long view to the Barca match, which we'll talk a lot more about as the date gets closer. All right, man, tomorrow we're on your channel. Sending you a big hug, Kike. Give this video a like and subscribe, please. A little bell to hype, and I think that's everything. Big hug, man.
Hugs. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.